Oh, there I am. Can you all hear me? I'm not blasting anyone's eardrums too much. I just want the sound engineers to be able to tone me down because I have an incredibly loud voice. So thank you very much for turning up, guys. Thank you very much for joining the session. My name is John Burton. I am the Dell EMEA sort of workstation performance PC lead. And what I'm here today to talk to you really is about a very exciting new product that we're about to launch that will revolutionize the way AI development and inferencing is done at a local level. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll all be queuing at the Dell booth waiting to put your name down and say, I want one, I want 10. So you'll have to excuse me a little bit. I do wander about a lot. It's not nerves, it's just the way I'm old and my knee seize up. So first of all, let's go into it. So this is the Dell Pro Max with GB10. So this is a product that is very, very close to my heart. I've been involved with it from the Dell side of things, working very closely with NVIDIA to bring this to market. Now, most of you will be aware, if you've not been living under a rock, that NVIDIA announced in GTC earlier this year their DGX Sparks box. So this is the future, their view of how they can enable and get folks to AI quicker and adopt and develop further. What we've done is work very closely with NVIDIA, and we're bringing our own product to the market, which is based off the Grace Blackwell architecture that is the heart of what this product is. Now, he's thinking, why is this guy talking to me about a bit of hardware? The reality of what this is a dedicated AI appliance. Okay? This has one purpose and one purpose only, and that's AI. You cannot install Windows on it. You cannot go onto a Teams call, PowerPoint. You cannot break into it to do any kind of gaming on it. This is purely an AI development for fine-tuning platform or an AI inferencing platform. And the reason why this is so exciting is because this is going to give you 1,000 teraflops, 200 billion parameter models. You can stack two of these together, which effectively doubles the performance. And this is sub $4,000. Now, you'll have to excuse me, I work for an American company, so I've been indoctrinated about saying everything in dollars. You can use your own exchange rate depending on wherever you are, convert it to euros or pounds. But it's around the $4,000, £3,800 mark. There are slightly lower cost versions, but I'm going to talk about the bigger unit because there are some limitations to this, and I'll explain why. So what we've got here is this inferencing platform that will give you 200 billion parameter models. Now that 200 billion is based around FP4. If you're working on something that's on the quantization of 8, effectively you're going to halve that. But the reality of what we've got here is a platform that's going to allow you to do a lot more development work. This is a technical slide. I'm not going to go through too much. You can sit there and read it at your leisure. But basically what the Grace Blackwell architecture, which is where the GB10 comes from, is based around a 20-core ARM processor, a dedicated Blackwell GPU, and 128 gigs of memory. This has been designed so that you can actually specifically allocate at least about 100 gig purely for your AI model. So there, in terms of scale, this is incredibly powerful. We're launching it with 2 hard drive options, a 2 and a 4. The reason why I'm talking about only the 4 is that this and any other product, including the NVIDIA one that's being launched, you cannot upgrade this. Once you buy it, that's the configuration that you have. So if you want to really take full value of this, you have to start looking at the sort of the hardware side of it. Now, that's the boring bit. And this is a picture with it's got holes in it, and you plug things into it, and that can all sorts of stuff. So I'm just putting that in there so you can see a picture. So where does this fit? So first of all, I'm saying to you, look, it's an AI development tool. It's not a ground up. This is not, you're not going to start building AI models from this. What this is a fine-tuning device. So this is allowing you to take a pre-existing model, whether it be a fully something from the NVIDIA microservices or whether you're going to pull something down from Hugging Face, you can take that model and start fine-tuning it for your very specific workloads. You can work on individual agents. You can then pull in multiple agents in and then use this device for the inferencing. So if I put this into context, and forgive me for those that will probably know an awful lot more than I do, if you're talking about the parameters and large language models, I believe ChatGPT-3 was something around 170 billion parameters. Well, this box sits in your hand, and that's going to do 200. So imagine what workloads you can do at the desk to really accelerate your AI development, AI strategy, and AI adoption at what I would classify as a pretty low cost point. So what we're trying to do is enable you and the developer community to be able to do things locally. Okay? And then the other side of things is be able to take your completed agents and run them at a local level without having to necessarily take them up to the cloud, without having to have them connected. You can work in a very secure, native environment next to your desk and run very, very powerful models. Okay? This is even busier. Right? But what I want to look at here is not the wording, and I'll come to that in a minute, is really around where this is going to be used. Prototyping, creating proof of concepts. I've got an idea I want to do something with AI. You can't justify it to the business. You don't have a platform. This will give you a low-cost entry point to do that proof of concept, to do your AI development, to do that data cleansing. Okay, then you might be able to use this in an education environment. Honestly, go over to the Dell stand and look how small this is. You plug it into a monitor and you can use this in any educational establishment, even a primary school, because it's an inferencing device. I mean, every time I talk about this product, I get people giving me so many different ideas. And the one I love the most is the fact that you could put this into a primary school library and have a supporting agent, an application to help children with learning difficulties, to really engage at any establishment. So this isn't just for the big, large corporations. This is truly bringing AI to everybody. Now, the most important part as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not slating cloud. Please do not think that I'm trying to take this away from any other. This is part of a hybrid environment. I want to make that really clear. GB10 in isolation is fine for certain points, but what you need to do is look at it as part of either a starting point or a broader part of your ecosystem, whether you've got lots of infrastructure, whether you're doing stuff in the cloud. But the reality is, actually, let me try and make this interactive, because I can see a few people at the back falling asleep. Yeah, I wasn't pointing at you, but it's no. How many of you are doing any AI development? And how many of the people with their hands up are doing any development in the cloud or utilizing cloud? I'm not going to ask you how much that's costing you, but you're having to pay a per token rate, right? That is almost uncontrollable, because the more you do, the more tokens you want, the more inferencing you need to do, the more fine-tuning. The tokens become an uncontrollable expense. And guess what? Do you know how you control it? You set a cap. So I spoke to someone a few weeks ago, and they're spending $1,000 a day in the cloud. Their business's response to that was, well, that's too expensive. We can't run that cost. We're going to cap you at 200. By 11 o'clock, they've stopped working because they can't do any more work. So you've got a developer, a really intelligent person, not been able to fulfill their potential and do their role because they've been capped, because of the business wants to control the cost. Now, I'm not saying that cloud is an enemy. It's part of the solution. But what you have here is an ability to have a relatively low-cost inferencing development device. There's no cloud costs. There's no token costs. You can run this from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or even till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It will still be the same cost. You've paid for it up front. You're able to run a device and these workloads locally without having to take data from your network, considering like maybe compliance, maybe there's a security. How much data am I bringing across from my network to my device to the cloud, doing the work in the cloud, then bringing it back and then doing it? You're adding steps, you're adding cost, and potentially there are security aspects to it. Now, I'm not putting fears in there. Look, I'm not an expert in cloud technologies, but the reality is that most people will be doing it because they didn't believe there was another option. What I'm telling you is there is another option. And that's why the Pro Max with GB10 is really, really driving home to a lot of people, because it allows you to take away that and do incredibly, incredibly powerful things on device. Now, I know you're all thinking, it's like, wow, that sounds really interesting, John, but how do I connect to it? You can network connect to it, or you could plug into it directly. And I'm going to explain this. This is a really dull slide, so you don't have to focus. Look, focus on me. Focus on me, right? Look into the eyes, not around the eyes, in the eyes. So what we're looking at here is a device that will sit in a network. It has a 10 gig standard network port. So you could plug that onto your network. You can take your existing device, and I know some of you can I have a show of hands how many of you are using fruit-based devices? And hopefully you'll understand what I mean by that. Anyone using fruit-based devices? So fruit-based devices can be a little bit of a challenge. Like, how do I use my fruit-based device to do inferencing and training and really building that up? Well, I've just introduced you to a GB10 that will sit on a network. And with your fruit-based device, or any other device of your choice, preferably a Dell, because they are the best, honestly. And not just because I work for them much. So what we're looking at really is you can take something like the NVIDIA Workbench. You can, via SSH, you can point the Workbench software to the GB10 on the network, and you use that as your compute engine. You develop locally. You do all your Python code. You build your agents. Then you send them to the GB10. That does the work. Then it sends it back. Local. It's on your network. It could be sat next to you. You can even have that plugged in via a crossover cable if you're really that into it. The other way you can do it is this has a Wi-Fi enabled chip, which means that you can create a hotspot on the GB10, connect your laptop to the hotspot, and you console in and work to it in a localized network between your laptop and the GB10. Alternatively, you can have everything disconnected and plug in a monitor, keyboard, and mouse and completely work separately in isolation. You can get the data in and then completely sandbox it from everything. So the problem what we have with AI requires data. Data is unique to your business. It's the core of your business. You can't risk data being leaked. Sometimes you can't, just purely from compliance, you can't just send data wherever you need it to be. And let's be clear, we're all running multiple data pots and you're pulling it from different areas. So the fact that you can have this plugged in directly at your desk and disconnect it from the network, you are 100% secure. So a sandbox environment is vital when you're worried about IP protection or IP theft or customer data. How am I doing on time? Oh, not too bad. You're all looking at this slide going, oh my God. What I want to try and explain, some of you will understand this way better than I do, right? I am not an AI developer, right? I stand on stages and I join Teams calls and tell people how wonderful our products are and try and get your creative juices flowing. But the reality of what we've got here is the GB10 comes standardly with that. So this is based around purely on the NVIDIA stack. You cannot start using lots of other development platforms. This is based around the NVIDIA. So with it, you have a hardware layer with all of the decoders and encoders. You have the containers and the kernels. You have all of the CUDA libraries, the tensor libraries. So it's all there ready for you to start doing the developing and harness the power of the GPU to really accelerate your AI workloads. Then on top of that, you've got choice. You can download whatever developer kits, whatever libraries. You can link it to the NVIDIA AI Enterprise if you wish. You can log in and join get the NVIDIA inferencing microservices, which are those packaged, already built LLMs and agents. You could go in and get the blueprints and make your own, fine-tune your own. You can go onto Hugging Face and pull them down. As long as they're accelerated on NVIDIA, you can do all of that. Now you'll understand potentially why I'm telling you don't look at anything less than 4 terabytes, because you will suddenly very quickly run out of space. You can't penny pinch on this. At the end of the day, what the closest alternative you've got on doing this is a lot more cost and potentially less power. Anyone doing AI development on GeForce graphics? Anyone using 4090s or 5090s? Don't be shy. I know most of you probably will be. There we go. There's at least one's honest. The challenge, what you've got there, is an incredibly high-performance GPU that is limited either to 24 gig if you're using the 4090 or or 32 gig. You will run out of resource very, very quickly. So the only options you've really got to do is go to the professional set of cards. So something like the NVIDIA Blackwell, the RTX Pro Blackwell 6000. That in itself costs more than the GB10. Now, I'm not just saying I'm trying to put it into context. So you've got the ability to run almost those very high level 6000 class graphics. Is it something I said? It's not the first time, won't be the last time. So that's where I'm trying to get in. So what you've got here is a development stack. Anyone that has already invested into AI and infrastructure and are lucky enough to have enough budget to run some of like the GB300s and the LVL72s, the very large data sets that run on the DGX-OS software, well, this runs on the same software. It's built to be able to do completely seamless interaction of development from desk natively into your environment. Oh, I've lost another one. So I don't worry, I apologize. I just like picking on people. Now, getting there. Right, this is, again, another piece of light. Anyone already familiar with Dell? Apart from the people at the front. Some of them are familiar, right. What we've got is like, well, why is this guy talking to me about this bloody bit of hardware? It's a bit of tin. It's a bit of tin that will help you and revolutionize things. But the reality, in isolation, it's just one part of something that we offer. Now, what we've done, because we are incorporated an entire organization across our server, storage, networking services, and desktop and client products, we're able to bring together what we've called our framework, which is the Dell AI Factory with NVIDIA. Now, automatically, what you probably do is you look at this slide and you'll start on the left. You don't start on the left, you start on the right. Because there's no point starting doing data until you know what you want to do. What is your use case? What is it you can find within your business that actually AI is going to help me with? Will it make me money? Will it save me money? Will it improve my customer experience? Will it provide better support for my staff? Dell internally created their own AI, right? Which is called our sales chat. It's our own internal LLM to free time up for our employees to do what they're good at, to do what they want to do by being able to take away manually searching for documents or pieces of information. So once you've got that use case, then you've got to go to the data. Now the problem is when you're trying to create a proof of concept and you've got this use case, whether it be a coding or digital assistant or creation, then you've got to look at where that data point is. And this entry-level platform allows you to do that proof of concept, but also is vital in part of doing that data science. Anyone work in an industry that does lots of videos and photos? I'll ignore that then. And everybody else that doesn't work in that industry, I know, look, anyone that works in media, you've got unstructured data. How do you tag that data? How do you get that data with meta tags so you can be useful to find me every image with a picture of a yellow door? I know that sounds very random, but it's just like, it's an example. So once you've got that data cleansing, now what do you do with it? So what we have internally within our business is a set of services that allows you to work with you on your use cases, look at where your data is, pull it together, look at what software, look what agents there are. Now we've created a solution. But guess what? Software is absolutely useless unless it's got a foundational hardware to run it on, right? So it's all well and good in having all of this, but if you get this bit at the bottom wrong, you're left with a very bad experience. And that's where we come in to provide you with that foundation to make sure whether it's storage and data, GPU servers, or PC and workstations as part of your entire ecosystem. So we're not just saying, well, here's a bit of tin, off you go. If you need us to try and help you with that, we can try and help you scale. And there's things that we can do. And if that's something that might sound interesting to you, come and have a chat with some of the team on the stand. That's part of why we are so good at what we do. Okay? Now, the next bit, I'm doing a bit of self-promotion. Am I doing on time? Okay. The GB10, brilliant product. Later on in the year, we're going to have the Dell Pro Max with GB300. Now that is I think the numbers being banded around are a trillion parameters on a desk-side device. And you think, oh, why would I need that? Well, if you can't afford infrastructure, but you need to do lots and lots of stuff, and you don't need servers, and you want to take stuff out of the cloud, but you're doing incredibly large models, and you're building stuff, maybe for your client, maybe for your business, maybe for yourself. The GB300 is being toted to be able to cope with a trillion parameters. That's phenomenal, right? But they only do one thing. The only thing they do is AI. Now, can I justify, can you justify, can your business justify spending and investing in a device that won't do my Outlook and Teams? I want to be able to do everything in one go. And that's where our workstation, the Pro Max range, supports and complements that journey. So if you want to be able to do AI as well as doing your day-to-day work and do some shopping during your lunch break on Amazon or any other online vendor of your choice, that's where we come in with these devices. When you look at where we sit within it, we are EMEA's #1 workstation brand. We're the UK #1 workstation brand. We're the global #1 workstation brand. Not just because workstations you think, oh, I'm not doing any design and CAD. This is about the performance of the device. So it's around development, right? So we have our Pro Max Plus 16 and 18. That has an RTX 5000 GPU. So that's a phenomenally high-powered GPU in a mobile platform. That allows you to do some very powerful things. Now, okay, you're limited to 24 gig of memory, but it allows you to do AI development away from the office, away from work. On a plane, you could be flying to Vegas for a conference and you're still doing development work while you're there. The Pro Max Tower T2, that will have a Pro 6000 Blackwell, just a single, but again, it's an entry point to do some workloads. And then when you start getting down to the bottom, it becomes a lot more, you can put multiple cards in. And as we come next year, we're going to have a system, desktop system that you can put 6,000 Blackwells. Because what we're getting is constant more and more demand to be able to do that development at the desk. So just to frame this in a way, is if you look at where, these aren't to scale by the way, but if you look where I mentioned Alienware down the bottom, a lot of people are doing that because that's where they start. You might have come from a gaming world, you're doing some everyone thinks that Alienware or the GeForce cards are brilliant, but you're limited. Then you've got the towers, but the GB10, either single or stacked, is going to give you the best, the highest value for money in terms of the performance that you can get from an investment to help support your AI. And then we can scale up and down. I only saw 2 people fall asleep, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I only lost 2 of you. And I gained some, so I think I'm a net winner. Do you guys have any questions at all? Yes. I'm coming down for a walk. There we go. 2 questions. I only said 1. No, you can ask 2. It's fine. Go for it.
How prone is GB10 to depreciation of the hardware?
How prone is it for depreciation of the hardware?
Like next year, you have to replace with...
This is IT, right? You have to constantly update.
But is it the software or is it the hardware?
So the hardware will remain the same. So we've not seen NVIDIA has not given us any roadmap in terms of where this replacement or the next generation this will be. We know that this is going to be around for at least 18 months, possibly 2 years. The hardware itself is where it is. It's built around the Blackwell architecture, so that's not going to be refreshed for a while yet. In terms of it, it is what it is. All right? There's no upgrades. You buy it as it is. Then you've got software updates. So there will be software updates, there will be feature updates that come along, but other than that, you buy it, it is what it is. Second question, I'll let you have.
If you buy it, is there any subscription involved?
Is there any subscription involved if you buy it? Only if you want to run NVIDIA. So if you need to run NVIDIA Enterprise, then that's the only subscription. There is no other requirement. So you can run that, runs developer. Any other questions at all? I've either been really good or you're really shy or you just want me to go away. Right, my final piece for you. is thank you. But anyone that's interested in maybe a little bit more, Dell have the annual conference that we hold in London every year, which is our Technologies Forum. This is going to be hosted on the 18th of November, and it's going to be at the magazine over in London. I would highly encourage you, if you want to see what we can do from desk to data center to services to software to peripherals, so you can get in there and have a look at what we're doing around mice, displays, keyboards, as well as our networking and our server storages. There are some amazing keynote speeches. I would encourage you to scan the code, register. If you're not native English and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to miss out, we are hosting these across all of Europe. So we've got some in the we've got Netherlands, we've got Sweden, the Nordics, Denmark. If it's something that you want to join and you're not native to the UK, I would highly recommend just searching for Dell Technologies Forum, and you can see every country that we're attending. And if you're lucky, you might even get to see me at a couple of them. Don't let that put you off. If you don't want me to be there, then please write into Michael Dell, and he'll put a request and say, John, you're just too good. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.